What's up, Quakers? Welcome back to the Quake Pro League, where we're plugged back in for more exhilarating action here. Have you had fun so far, Dan?
I'm thrilled.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Exhilarated?
So much.
Buzzing?
Yeah.
I can almost feel the static coming off him. It's
called pre-workout.
It's crazy. Oh, God.
Don't touch me.
Sorry. I forgot it was in the contract with the rules.
Yeah, so one show I have to do with you and then I'm free. But cool, we're back to Quake Pro League.
Yes, it should be very fun indeed. What we have coming up next is going to be lightning in a bottle. This one should really get you fired up for the day. Cooler versus Tox. I'm feeling pumped for this one.
It's going to be a good one, actually. I mean, this was the first game of the day where I looked and thought this could be spicy. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a lie. I thought Cypher Base could be spicy, and it was. But this was the one everyone was looking at thinking this is like the clash of the Titans. And I do, as much as I do favour Cooler, I don't think it's going to be like a steamroll at all. Like, Tox he's a champion. He knows how to play under the pressure, and he's just got unparalleled skills. So I just hope he brings it today. That's why he's called the Terminator.
Oh, yes, he definitely is a Terminator. He can do damage at every given opportunity. Usually, this man is a speed junkie. He is so quick on the server, he will be flying around and leaving circles of dust around you. Are we going to see that coming out to play today, though, Dan?
Yes, absolutely. I believe we saw a couple of picks that will enable him to do that. But the one thing I want to kind of stipulate against that is the fact that as much as he does love to fly around and does love to pick up the pace, he's very good at using it strategically.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that because of his champion mentality and the way he's developed through duel, he's got a strong positional game, and he will use that speed to his advantage when he needs to. And so it's not just mindless charging, it's far more tactful. And that's what's particularly scary about playing Tox, is that he's actually quite a passive and positional player, and so he will only use it when he knows he's going to go in for the kill. It's like a velociraptor or something, you know. Like as soon as he smells blood, that's when he uses that speed.
He waits for the opportunity.
Exactly.
You know, it's like the start of Jurassic Park when the kid's feeding them ham sandwiches, and then they all jump at once.
Yeah, and
he's all of the velociraptors.
All Toxes.
Yeah.
Cooler's
going to go in with a ham sandwich.
Don't bring a ham sandwich to party.
I hope he doesn't have a ham sandwich on him. This would be awful. But Cooler, his opponent, hopefully not a wielder of ham sandwiches, but a wielder of every single gun to such a high pedigree.
He's just
unparalleled when he's got his fuel behind him.
And again, I think Coollerz is one of these players for me that in recent years has just developed his game, and he keeps evolving. And now he's one of the players that I genuinely fear in terms of just combat skills. He's always been known for his amazing rockets and amazing dodge, but now you look at these highlights of some of his flick rails and sometimes his tracking. Like, he is an absolute machine when he's on his form. And when Coollerz on his form, there's no player like him. He plays so careful, so tactful, and when you back it up with that kind of skill, like that, this is why this kid wins championships.
Yeah, that's what's worrying as well, because it's the fact that currently in the Quake Pro League, we obviously have had two big champions that have taken their respective pickups in the stages so far. Cooler being the most recent one to that, will soon have his name forever instilled on the belt, and it's wild because he's going from strength to strength. He's looking like he's really back onto that form that he used to have, and that's scary because his form is ridiculous. He's so strong.
He's always there or thereabouts. Even if he's not winning championships, he's always in the final, in the semi-final, and that's because he is the champion of champions, and he just knows how to win, and that's why he's called the king. And his play style is just so varied. He adapts instantaneously to what you are doing as a player. He uses information cues like nobody else, and he's just a joy to watch.
Yeah, the counters that come through from this man are crazy. Let's delve into the picks and bans, though, because this is going to give us the bigger picture. Before the break, you went for the full 3-0 on Cooler. I said 2-1 in favour of Cooler, with Tox taking one map. Now you've seen the picks and bans. Does that change your mind?
It does a little bit. The Ghislaine is obviously an amazingly strong champion, but I'm actually a little bit wary about the use of her on the Blood Covenant. I do think Tox has my favour there in terms of using Slash, able to pick up the pace, much wider a wider kind of scale map, can use that pace and that rail to her advantage. Awoken, going on to that, we see BJ coming out from Cooler and Eisen coming out from Tox. It's going to be a fairly standard matchup. Neither one of them really preferable in terms of controlling the mid ground. You can use turrets extremely well across that in terms of information, in terms of defense, but at the same time we just know that Cooler is exceptionally good with his BJ, and probably no one better the way he uses his dual wield so effectively and so strategically. While moving on to Blood Run, this is going to be the kind of stereotypical classical game between the two, and we saw the Saw leg earlier, explained it why in detail, and I think that will suit Tox well. But I think Visor coming out with, again, as we saw with Dehang, using it in a very similar way, I think, on Blood Run, will just be able to outmaneuver Tox on that for me.
Yeah, I mean, with 2 blood maps being in played here, let's start it from the top. If we do go in with map 1, Slash coming out to play, it's always going to be a bit scary, especially when it is on Tox, purely because he is someone that I think sort of really wrote the book on a lot of these champions of how to play them so effectively. And when he is on form, if he comes into the server today really feeling himself on a champion like Slash, it's going to be deadly. I
do feel that if anyone can pull a Galena out on Blood Covenant, it's going to be Cooler, obviously, but I'm interested to see how he uses a totem strategically, but I think that Tox's speed on Slash and the way you can use it on Blood Covenant, I think you'll be able to just essentially run rings around, pressuring Cooler quite a lot, taking out those totems as and when they come. And if his rail's on form, I definitely think that Tox should be taking this map.
Yeah, well, that's really one of the defining factors as well, because especially with his arsenal of weapons, that rail literally just sort of has golden arches around it. Like, it's projected above his head as being this holy weapon that he can wield.
It can be a big if. Although that Tox is probably the best aimer in the world on his day, it's not always his day. Like, he's going to hit his shots, but there are just some days where he hits everything, and there's some days where you're watching and saying, all right, mate, let's steer clear. You're not hitting everything. And it's finding that balance for Tox, because when he's not hitting his shots, I do find his game falls apart quite quickly. He needs to be slightly more adaptive. And so if he can come into this game, even if he's not hitting his shots, and keep up a good fight, that's when we know Tox is turning up to play.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see if there is any changes to his play style as well, because some of the picks we've got coming through in terms of the champions, it's only really this opening map for me where it feels like it's truly going to be everything fitting the Infinity Gauntlet that is sort of Tox, right? You know, where he's got the opportunity to rail, he's got the opportunity to play the Slash. There's a lot of factors that help him, whereas later on, the longer this series goes on, it feels like that switches over to being a preference of Cooler.
Absolutely. And if there's any one player in the world that you would suggest that can probably outmaneuver somebody with raw aim, it's going to be Cooler, right? He's more than aware that that's what Tox wants to do, and he's going to play completely around it, and he's going to abuse the fact in that Tox wants to do that. And that's what you can find with these heavy aim players, is that they can become so reliant on it that somebody like a Cooler can manipulate that scenario in his favor as well. So your strength becomes your weakness.
It's definitely going to be a scary affair. Cooler, I think right now, in terms of his prowess as well, it's looking like he's really starting to get back to the point where he wants to be a contender for #1 again, which is incredible, right? Finally, another championship title going under his belt after such a long time. The fact that he's been around, he's literally been there, done that, and got the t-shirt far too many times to count that his wardrobe is full by now. You know, probably he needs to get rid of some of those t-shirts, Dan, because it's ridiculous.
There's nobody I think I know in Quake that hates losing more than Cooler. So he takes every one of these maps super seriously, and will always give it his all. And as you said, he's just one of those guys where if you look at any sort of tournament, any sort of league, you're like, where's Cooler? Like, he's going to be there. And so I'm expecting big things, and I'm going to stick to my 3-0 guns, even though I think the first map is going to be the decider for me in terms of if Tox is going to take one and make a real footmark in this series, it's going to be on map 1.
Yeah, I mean, for me, ideally, it does sort of feel like as soon as we get into sort of map 2 onwards, it's going to be quite convincingly back over in favour of Cooler. I just feel like if the sort of the Tox mantra of everything that he lives and breathes does come through and it shines through, it should be his map to play with, just because he has the opportunity there. Although, in terms of a 1-to-1 raw matchup on paper right now, just as individual players, I've really got to give that stock towards Cooler, because I feel like you can't dispute just how strong he is individually right now.
And there's a reason why Cooler's right up at the top and Tox is sitting in the mid-level, right? And even at previous events, Tox has not really made a big mark in the latter stages of the tournament, but Cooler has. As you say, the pedigree and the stock is currently with Cooler, and as you say, the map picks probably do favour Cooler very slightly. Moving into, I think we've got Awoken from Cooler's pick. That's a map where you can take away all sort of aim type of advantages. It's a much more positional map. You have to play extremely smart, and if Cooler can do that and control those areas, he really can manage the fights that come through. With Blood Run finishing up, again, very traditionally similar. You can control the fights extremely well. yeah, it's going to be a tough day for Tox if he doesn't get off to a good start, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind seeing Tox on Awoken as well, because, I mean, by and large, some of the games that he's had in the past, especially over Stage 1 and Stage 2 so far at QPL, when I've seen him play on Awoken, he's still looked damn sick. Like, some of the games he's had have been really wonderful to witness, but it's also, this is now you versus Cooler, it's a whole different mindset coming into it as well. And the worrying bit is, a lot of it for Tox feels like momentum. If he gets an early game lead, he'll run with it. If he struggles, I don't know. It feels like
I agree. An experience of commentating Tox kind of helps that ring true a little bit, and it's good that he has his pick first. And having both Blood Covenant and Blood Run in the pool, I think, gives him a sense of security in that he is fundamentally sound on both those maps, obviously. And as you say, if he's particularly strong on Awoken as well, then there's absolutely. We're going to be in for a really good contest if he can pull his weight, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully so. If you guys at home do have some thoughts on the matchup that's coming up, though, in Cooler versus Tox, why don't you let us know? If you dispute what me and Dan have been saying and think you've got the big brains for it, we want to hear about it. Tell us over on Twitter. It's hashtag Quake Pro League. Tweet us, and we'll see what the community thoughts are on this one. As no matter what, it should provide a bit of a gem over today's games, Dan. As we reach the halfway point of the show, obviously, with our fourth game tonight, this one is looking to be pretty tasty.
Yeah, I mean, it should be one of the picks of the day, as we said. It's, I'm actually genuinely really excited for this.
And pumped.
I love all three maps that are coming out of these picks, and I've got some really interesting champion picks as well. I'm just hyped to see Tox on Slash once again.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've seen a couple of Slash games today, and they've both been monumental. So if they live up to that the same level as we've seen, I mean, if it's the same level as last game, then we're just in for another amazing game.
Well, that's the thing, even just especially with the movement that he brings out alone, it's still just going to be nice to witness, even just from a spectator standpoint, of some of the stuff he's going to pull off inside the game.
Yeah. And it'd be good to see Tox getting back up to that level, because looking back at recent months, he's shown glimpses of his true identity, if you will. Mm-hmm. And I just want to see that on a more consistent basis. And that's generally what you get from Coollerz, is that consistency. But this will be a very different Cooler from previous weeks, because whilst he can play aggressive and he has a really big stranglehold on his map, Tox will punish you for being over aggressive as well with his aim. So I do expect Coollerz to stay a little bit more patient, and then he can capitalize on it when and as he needs to. He's one of the best at changing up tempos.
Yeah. Well, hopefully both of these players are going to be getting themselves ready. We should be getting underway with this one fairly soon. So I hope you've strapped yourself in, get those seatbelts ready, because I imagine Tox is going to blow us away potentially in the open few minutes at this one, if anything is to go by his previous games. Although for Cooler as well, will we see the king himself, reign supreme, come out dethroning, because he definitely does like to take charge.
He does. Terminator versus the king. That's quite a matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Battle the nicknames, almost.
That is what they are. They are nicknames.
Are they? Taglines, nicknames?
Maybe. I don't know. What would your Quake Pro League nickname be? The Unqualified?
Mate. I'm just done. That's
the Retired?
What would yours be?
Sick game.
Grandma Curtains.
Oh, wow. All right, well, that's a low blow.
Yes, it is, but that shirt is fantastic.
It's lovely, isn't it? Thank you very much. You said you got a hat like this.
I do have a hat like that, yeah. But I'm not wearing it on stream.
Right. Yeah, because, that would be unprofessional. You'd be wearing a hat, wouldn't you?
This is
there's
true.
no rain indoors.
This is true.
Everyone knows that's why you wear hats.
I'm going to have to pick up my shirt game next time, I think.
Yeah, I think so. We'll go shopping together. We'll find you a tasty little number.
I don't know if I could pull it off as well as you, because I don't have the whole kind of feature-esque,
Or the luscious locks, the beard.
That was a cheeky look.
Yeah. That's what we do here.
I think Tox had a beard like that once upon a time as well.
Yeah? Yeah, he's trimmed it down a little bit now.
Yeah,
it's a little bit more to
I think back in like QuakeCon 2017, it's quite manly and meaty.
Nice.
It was nice.
Nice. I think if we combined what we've got going on here between us both, that would be the Tox beard. Like into the handlebars down with the length that I've got.
Proper Viking.
Yeah, between us both,
braided.
we could make one really nice Tox beard.
Yes, I agree.
There you go. That's the level of insight we provide here on the Quake Pro League. Is hopefully we've got some exciting stuff coming up soon, Dan.
I'm sure we do as we get back into the game. Obviously, some troubles finding an amenable server between Sweden and Moscow.
I think Cooler had a problem with his internet, and he was trying to resolve that as quickly as possible. So he was restarting his router. We did have 1 week. I think we had someone. I think it might have been Sib, or maybe it was Chain. I think Chain had to let his dog out, and
I should just stop.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an effect. I like that excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that excuse.
I had one a while ago now at this point where someone spilled a bowl of milk on their keyboard, and they had to go and find another keyboard before they could play.
In the Quake Pro League?
No, but yeah.
In another competition.
Yes.
That's an interesting excuse. Why have you even got milk while you're playing?
Probably having a bowl of cereal, wasn't he? You've got to get your fibre, Dan.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, two boys that have a lot of fibre, probably. I hope you need it in your diet. Tox and Cooler. Let's see how this one is going to go as we're finally into the action here on Blood.
Good start. Nice use of the crouch sliding there to jump across the rail, particularly quickly and efficiently without taking any sort of damage.
Tox. Let's see if this slash is everything we hyped it up to be, as he is going to leave that trail down, starts to go aggressive. He's fairly low on his stack though. It looks like he is going to back off, Dan.
He is. He had an amazing opening rocket, but wow, that was close. Cooler also retaliating with an equally strong rocket, meaning Tox could not push in, but does manage to sneak back. Does miss the vials. Not particularly concerned though, just Cooler backing off, not putting any sort of pressure here. This is what I mean in that Tox can play calculated. Only use that speed when he knows it's the most effective use of his capabilities. He's going to hit the totem. Ooh.
So, a minute in. No one finding an initial kill just yet. No blood being spilled. Tox. Ooh, this actually could be the opener though. Awkward fight between them both as they're breathing down each other's necks. Instead, Tox bails out, goes for the heavy, and then quickly dives out of there, stealing every hourglass along the way as well. So he's almost got his active back up in another 15 seconds.
Yeah, unfortunate there, just to not have out the rail at the right time, as he might have been able to clip Coolers' heels as he jumped across to get that mega. Nice rail though. Making sure Cooller's not able to maintain his super big stack.
Rail coming out to play. Rockets being fired across as well. And this is just how confident he's been on this slash. He can use it to deny the area of effects as well. So even though Cooler started to get the advantage into that fight, he couldn't willingly push. He would have taken way too much damage. Stops him from going on the aggressive. And now Tox, keeping the tempo high, starts to change things up.
I don't think there's anyone better though at using Slash's speed to prod and probe. We saw him kind of pushing into the mega health room, what would have been quite aggressively, but realizing the situation wasn't in his favor, just backing out immediately and taking as little damage as possible. But we can see here, Cooller's just playing that high ground game, making sure he's managing that 2 choke points of entry into that room. And this is what we said, is that Cooller's very much playing around what Tox wants to do here, just making sure if he's going to be attacked, it's in a choke point on his favor. Realizing he does have an opening to push in, but just Tox doing enough here.
Ooh, that'd have been nice if he could have got the extra damage off as well on the follow-up, as he is running circles around Cooler right now, chasing him down. Got 2 rails left to play with a single rocket as well, so running low on ammunition, but at least he has the stack to be able to try and tank it into a few of these fights. If he can land his shots as well, it won't matter too much. That's the final rocket fired out, and he's going to have to try and snatch a few more.
And both players here quite happy to trade major items to each other as they prod and probe, looking for an opening. Both with great awareness and attempting to make aggressive maneuvers as and when it has been an opening has presented itself, so they're not afraid to make the move, they're just playing extremely calculated at this point in time. So nice rail chipping down, but Tox does able to back up, pick up himself both.
Spam in the back. Cooler taking a fair few bullets on the way out there. Tox, he's maintained the stack advantage for a fairly long time now. Although we can't chase efficiently here. He's going to have to stop, destroy the totem, and then go for the high ground to see if he can catch Cooler off guard. Instead, realizes the timing. If he backs off towards the mega, he will be able to steal it.
So we've seen the use of the totem so far as blocking choke points and around the teleporters, and predominantly for use for restocking his health mid-fight. So he is going to be playing extremely defensive as he's putting these in kind of choke point areas so Tox can't push through.
Tox finds himself some more rail. A light as well to add to that as he gets the small health bubble to at least give him a little bit more stack. Builds it up oh so slightly. Timing works out well to get back over towards the Mega, but this isn't good at all. Cooler, he realized what was afoot, gets there in the nick of time, fires the warning shot, denies that, and that is going to be him finally gaining control of the Mega.
Exactly, and now Tox is very firmly on the back foot here. For the first time in this match, we're going to see what can Cooler do. Great rocket. He should be able to pick up the heavy armor here, pretty much uncontested. Yeah, Cooler decides to back off after that rocket. Crucial rocket from Tox, the mid-air. Make sure Cooler comes away.
Predictive rail coming across. A sneaking suspicion of where Cooler was. Unfortunately, he isn't going to be landing it. That's two very uncharacteristic rails there from Toxdan.
And this is what I was saying, is that he, as much as he is applauded for his amazing aim, there are just some times where he doesn't hit his shots, particularly easy shots, and today seems to be one of them just so far. But we see a much more calculated Tox than we have done in some previous games as well. So still 0-0. That's the crucial part for Tox. And he's using this speed as a repositional tool rather than an aggressive tool at the moment. Getting into better railing positions just to chip away at Cooler. I think if Tox managed to hit a couple of shots in a row, that's when we will see his first real strides of aggression coming out.
A much slower game in the way it's been played in terms of the frag count, as both of them currently still 0-0, nearly 7 minutes in. But as soon as they get an opportunity, this one is going to get explosive. Cooler, with a large stack lead this time, finally does a bit of damage, but Tox, he's out of there. Bails out instantly, doesn't fancy lingering around like a bad smell to get overthrown. Instead, just backs off and tries to play the numbers game.
No, and using his ability to isolate and protect the choke points to mean Cooler cannot push in. But that rocket jump is really risky.
He's so bold!
What?
And now he's bald. Head's gone.
What's he doing?
That was outrageous. I mean, there's being confident in quite a decisive all-in, but I don't know. That's a bit of a rodeo now. The Wild West play is coming through.
I feel like he felt Tox had the rail out for a second, but the fact that Tox did the switch to the lightning gun instead just meant that he had the upper hand in that fight, because Cooler just dived straight into it.
This has a lot of weight to it. This fight right here that's currently going on between them both as well, because Cooler, he's looking to try and equalize. Although, Tox, he escapes, and he could just keep trying to toy with Galena now. He's got the extra movement speed over on the slash, so it means that he can just quickly get out of there. He will concede the Mega. The stack for Cooler is getting better and better as seconds go by, but as long as he doesn't fall, that's all that matters.
But Tox is out of rail at the minute, so instantly jumps across to get it. Zips across back to protect this heavy armor. Cooler just a bit too late to deal any real significant damage to Tox. Playing slightly risky here in a few of his plays.
God, it is very bold. The amount of airtime he had there as well would have been so susceptible. If we would have seen a classic Tox flick come through from the rail, he could have been left lifeless on the ground. If he repeaks this as well, it should be sure his demise. Luckily, the totem came up, so he's going to be able to drop that to at least replenish himself slightly. Does rebuild the stack from the lights that he's going to find. He wants the heavy, but this could be his downfall. Instead, snatches it from under the nose of Toxdan.
He does, and this is what we said at the start, that as much as people might think Tox is a massively aggressive player, he's really been extremely passive in this entire duel. It's definitely Cooler that's picking up the tempo.
And now this puts us in a huge position. Essentially everything that's happened over the previous 8 minutes has been negated as it comes down to this! The final minute and 30 seconds of the game, where Tox will snatch away another frag. Cooler eliminated. They're back in for another fight though. This could still equalize things.
Amazing turnaround by Cooler. And great awareness there not to push in, because that super nail gun could and probably would have killed him if he went to pick up that major item. That really hurts.
This is huge. From one frag to the quick follow-up. Cooler now taking things toe-to-toe as he gets himself 3-1. Ridiculous that we've now fallen into this position. It would take so much from
what
Tox
a
to
trap.
make it up, and it's not going to happen. 4-1 frags. As soon as Cooler found himself a small bit of breathing room, he has just run away with the game.
Yeah, and this is just the brain of Cooler coming out there. Amazing trap, awareness of when to push and when not to push. He made a couple of uncharacteristically aggressive plays that nearly cost him the game, but that backup off the second kill to push in and finish Tok off again is what really took him into winning this game.
Wow. Well, there you have it. Cooler.
I wasn't kind of amazed by the Galena pick. I don't think it really brought anything additional to this game. Obviously, that totem to rail combo was amazing. We can see the aim from Tox there. Again, uncharacteristically low. He was missing a lot of his rails, didn't get a chance to use the lightning gun, but he still kept it to a 4-2, even though he lost. Again, that was Tox playing suboptimal, but it was Tox playing smart and aware and around what Cooler was doing. He wasn't pushing into Cooler's traps. He wasn't pushing into those choke points because he knew that's what Cooler was setting up for. Cooler was putting those totems around and setting up around the choke points, up and around the rocket launcher area. And Tox was just saying, hey, I'm going to play the distance game here. I'm going to keep you at bay. And even though he wasn't hitting his rails, the way he was playing, using that speed advantage, meant that Cooler could never chase him down. However, once Cooler was able to get on top of him, after one kill, we saw the tempo pick up, and then Tox wasn't able to bring it back.
Yeah, I think that was the defining factor, right? Is as much as he could run and hide over the course of the entire game, as soon as it went 1-1 and Cooler realized that, look, what, we've got 1 minute and 30 seconds left to play with here, he just literally invested everything he had into trying to dominate, and dominate he did. A huge scoreline for him to, in the end, overtake, overcome, and win on map 1, meaning that he currently has the 1-map lead over Tox.
We were saying that we felt this should have been Tox's game.
Yeah.
I mean, he did pick it. And so the two things that worry me now is that, one, he wasn't hitting any of his shots, and two, Cooler outmaneuvered him. That was essentially what happened at the end of that game. That Tox wasn't able to overcome Cooler's kind of strategy, if you will. Yes, they kept each other at bay. Yes, he had a lead for a lot of the game, but he never really felt like he was going to win, if that makes sense, at any point in time. So going into the next map, I'm feeling a little bit trepidatious for Tox now, because he's going to be forced into much more close combat than he was doing in that game and that he would want to do. And rocket launchers and close combat skill isn't his forte. So we'll see how he manages.
Well, we do have the stats so far from the opening map of the series. As you can see, it was Tox's map pick. It was a hero that we favoured for him as well. Unfortunately, though, when it comes down to the control, that was what went in favour of Cooler. And also, at the exact moment he felt like he had an opportunity to snatch away the win, he did just that.
Yeah, and you can see the fact that Cooler definitely put a preference on Mega side of the map, picking up obviously over double, nearly triple the amount of megas, but also then doubling essentially the light armor count, meaning he generally had a much bigger stack than just leaving Tox with that heavy. He was able to fall back on 2 resources to Tox essentially 1, and that was a huge part of it, making sure that any fight he was going into, he was always in the lead. And when Tox wasn't hitting enough, he wasn't doing enough to whittle away that stack and even out the playing field.
Yeah. Unlucky stuff there for Tox in the opening map, and this actually could be a little bit worrying, because as you said, it was almost as if he was just playing for survival rather than to try and take the win, right? And he definitely is a player that needs early game tempo and early series tempo to fuel him the whole way through.
Yeah, he didn't get any momentum in that game. Right. There wasn't any kind of back-to-back shots or anything like that. So, but at the end of the day, he kept it to a very close scoreline, and because when, as we said at the very start of the day, if you keep it close, you've always got a chance. Yeah. And he's still Tox. He's still a previous champion. He's still exceptionally good. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah. Feeling for potentially things can change. I believe it is Awoken for map 2 as well, so could be a little bit shaky. It's a map that in the past we've definitely seen Tox have some highlights on. However, the same can be said for Big Daddy Cooler, and Cooler is by no means going to want to try and let this lead slip away from him now. He's already found a map as well. This is going to be eyes and gaze set on a full 3-0, because that's just the way he works as a human. He will want the most he can possibly squeeze out of this.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to say Cooler's the best at X or Cooler's the best at Y, whether it's maps or champions, but in recent times, I would say Cooler loves Awoken, Cooler loves BGA. It's going to be a tough ask for Tox to overcome him. However, Tox likes Ison, and Tox does also like this map, as you say. He has been pulling out results, so interested to see how he uses Ison, since this is the first time I think we've seen it today. And what it does allow him to do is play strong positional game, using those turrets, using that stack to take big one-on-one fights or protect key areas of the map. As we see him here holding the middle ground, Coollerz not even going to peek, as he doesn't want to take any unnecessary damage when he's out of position.
Now, Tox lurking around like a predator right now, looking for the right moment to strike, and this could be the opportunity for him, although both of them left so low. The Akimbo's going to be popped from Coollerz! He peeks over the ledge, and it is a single shot from the rail to remove the life from Tox.
Yeah, we saw one of the other added benefits of the turrets from Ison is that he got the jump on Coollerz because of the information he got from Cooller's position, because Coollerz killed it. Nevertheless, perfect counter rockets from Coollerz into the rail finish.
Good little predictive rocket coming around, doing a fair bit of splash damage. Both of them quite closely mirrored on the stack right now as Coollerz grabs an extra bit of armor to try and ping things back slightly into his favor. They are going to be fighting over the Mega. The predictive shot comes out with the LG. Tox will find it, but that's the trade kill from Coollerz.
That's the best Tox could have asked for in that situation. Coming up the jump pad blind with the lightning gun into Cooller's rockets. Tox needs to be counting himself lucky here as he gets himself back on the map and onto the scoreboard for the first time.
Ooh. Rockets fired across, the chase coming in as well. Frightening heights as they go for the lightning fights, and it is going to go in favor of Coollerz. Already making this a 3-to-1 split. The high octane, completely different playstyle from what we saw in the opening map on Blood. This is a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, but that fight, again, indicates how, as I said before, how much almost Coollerz developed in terms of his combat capabilities. Like, Coollerz left that fight, a one-on-one lightning gun fight with Tox, in relatively even stacks with 80 health. Like, Tox needs to recalculate a little bit on what fights he's going to be taking against Coollerz today.
Coollerz, you can afford to play a little bit slower now going forward as well. Basically just try and play that control style if he wants. He's the one with the advantage. Already 2 frags up. Oh, if you've got the dual wield though, you might as well use it. You can use it for control, or you can use it to cause absolute slaughter, and that's just what he did.
And this is why we see Cooller's preference of this champion on this map. The fact that you are taking these big one-on-one fights in open ground, and when you have that dual wield ability, though, there's almost no way you can get around that. Tox is trapped here, just doing as much damage as he can before he goes down, but as we feared, Coollerz is taking a little bit of a stranglehold on this map. The only blessing is that he did a lot of damage to Coollerz prior to that fight. However, Coollerz has the weapon advantage. Doesn't matter though, when you got a super shotgun.
He's also got a railgun. Try and back things up with if he's given the opportunity. Close range that won't be as effective.
Oi.
Oh, it doesn't matter. 2 rockets not better than 1 in this situation.
Yeah, that was really nice from Tox.
No follow-up though. The shotgun with the pellets is just going to be riddling straight through his body there as Coollerz finds a quite capital frag that he needed to pick up.
The one thing Coollerz has been doing well is not allowing Tox to use that railgun just yet. Tox realizing he needs to play through those choke points as well. Good read from Tox.
There's not going to be a quick follow-up off the spawn though. Tox, he had to try and deviate a little bit, pick up the heavy, took a lot of damage in that fight. But that's great! Oh, he forced Coollerz off. He couldn't find himself through the hole as he went for the leap across, so it was a good use of the LG, but there was no follow-up kill from it.
I was about to say that Tox is running low on Lightning Gun, and that's as he made the play, so he ran out of ammo mid-fight, which cost him his life.
The turnaround with 1 HP! Coollerz! Oh!
That's some... Tox realizing that Coollerz is very low, but not as low as he thinks.
Oh, this is despicable! He's so low every time, but he's still finding these frags.
He has the dual wield, but he doesn't even need to pop it, which means he can pick up this major item, go and get some armor. Should be able to take the heavy armor relatively uncontested.
Oh, the perfect timing as well. He's been able to hold on to it for a little bit longer. He's going to whip it out at the right time, fires off a single rocket. It'll be a direct hit The insides coming out from Tox as he's torn to shreds. Beautiful flicker Rooney as well. They're coming out from Cooler as he is just out for blood now.
Yeah, Cooler's gone full alpha mode right now. Bullying Tox around the map. He's got solid control. That's so unfortunate. Just dying before he takes it. I mean, Tox isn't even really making the wrong decisions. That was. But in general, there was a few circumstances where he had got Cooler low, but not low enough. So he decided to push him. But now, as we said before, like playing that playstyle, the map gets away from you so quickly. And now it's gone from a 3-frag game to a 10-frag game in a matter of a minute or two.
This is going to be another kill as well. This should be a 15th fairly easily. He's looking to try and finish it off with rockets. Goes back to the LG. It's been so easy for Cooler. The precision aim that's been coming out from the lightning gun has really been magnificent. Here's the use of the dual wield once again. This time he might not actually get a frag from it. Oh, actually, you know what? It's going to be a shotgun special.
It's been rinse and repeat for the last 3 minutes now. Tox jumping onto a major item before it spawns and Cooler being there just to finish up. The previous fight on the Mega, we saw how calm and collected Cooler is as a player. The fact that he timed to perfection, so he didn't rush to kill Tox on the spawn, which meant he preserved as much health and armor as he possibly could prior to killing Tox, prior to it spawning. That just shows you the awareness of the man.
Tox going back in for these fights, but he doesn't really have much in his arsenal. That Tribolt's about to run out of ammunition, and it'll be the nails.
You hate to see it.
Oh, that's awful. Riddling his bullet full of the nails there. To all go down. Follow-up rocket comes out. Tribolt to slay with as well from Cooler. 17-5. He's going for the 20 bomb. Oh! Wow. That was crisp.
2.5 minutes to go. Tox is going to play obviously man mode, but he runs into a dual wield. He needs to hit one more, and he does.
Oh. Impressive. All right, we were talking about the Tox rails. At least we're getting to see some of them.
Here we go. But it's been 7.5 minutes, and now he's started to change it to the
Ooh, and the super shotgun to the face. Never a good date to be set up on.
No, he's obviously forced to take those plays now, being so far behind. Oh, he knocks him off as well.
The trade, or the suicide.
And he gets the preferential spawn as well.
Oh, it's the Mega quickly taken off the back of it. Everything is just going in the dream scenario for Cooler here. Tox trapped in a box as he's tight in the corner. It should have been the frag, but it doesn't happen. The rocket didn't go out, and Tox gets the frag off with the nails.
Yeah, there's been some... doesn't even get a chance to pick up the heavy. Yeah, there's been some interesting trades back and forth that probably shouldn't have been the way they got. Oh, you don't want to run into a dual in a corridor.
There's just no escape. That's the full frontal slam.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously been good. Game over now for a good minute or two. Tox is just... Oi! I like that. Style points for Cooler.
Big mid-air. Oh, Cooler. I mean, at least he's going to be feeling pretty fresh going into the third map here. Definitely going to be fired up, but Tox, I don't know. He needs to reset himself completely. Awoken, a map both of these two like playing. However, Cooler really giving us the 101 on how to play it and how to do it in style. Oh, not enough frag. Surely 23 kills. Is he going for the 25?
Why not? I mean, the scoreline doesn't reflect that this game was quite close for a period of the time. I mean, there's a lot of things Tox could and should have done differently. I can understand his reasoning for why he went as aggressive as he did in certain circumstances, but in the grand scheme of things, it's always, again, a high-risk reward play that just didn't play out. And I think Cooler, to be fair to him, has been showing better aim than Toxic.
Oh yeah. Cooler's been hitting some like ludicrous flicks, really, really nice rockets. The lightning gun tracing has basically been on point with like every single shot he's had available to him. It's pretty lethal. If this is, you know, Cooler right now looking on good form, it's going to be scary as the season goes by. It's,
absolutely.
Dominance there displayed by him.
And I didn't feel that the Ison really did anything. He didn't offer anything to me.
No.
There was when it was close, there was a couple of times where his turret was able to provide a little bit of information and Coollerz whereabouts and gave him the jump on one of the situations. But beyond that, it was almost irrelevant. Whereas we saw the dual wield coming out time and time again, saving Coollerz butt and allowing him to win fights where he shouldn't have won them. So great champion pick, great strategy coming out from Coollerz, great aim, great game.
Yeah, I mean, at least it gave us a whole heap of highlight frags as a takeaway. You know, obviously, from map 1 into map 2, two complete different stories told of how the game's been played, how both of these players individually were playing as well. But the scary factor is now Coollerz, he's 2-0'd at this point. He's also gone on to make it a ridiculously large frag lead that he's got in the series. Going into the third and final map now for Tox, it's just a worrying matter of, you know, has the pressure got to him? Is there something that could potentially have broken his mental a little bit here, Dan?
Potentially. It was a feeling that Tox wasn't entirely comfortable playing Awoken. As much as we said that he's been looking good on it in recent weeks, I don't think he's obviously played against someone of the caliber of Coollerz and the control that Coollerz had. It felt that he resorted to, you know, option A, which was plus forward, try and out-aim Coollerz, when Coollerz was just taking up these good positions and just dealing down as much damage as Tox was giving him. And ultimately, there was no plan B from Tox. It didn't look like he was comfortable playing on the defense, and it showed.
Tox had some really nice unzoomed rails, but those are basically just for style points here. It isn't going to matter in the grand scheme of things because, I mean, it was just so bloated with the amount of frags that Coollerz was able to find. Yeah. Pretty much a good majority of them being really show-stopping as well.
Absolutely.
As we do have the results.
His 51% accuracy is insane at this level. And I think one of the defining matches in that, the defining points in that matchup was that trap Tox set when Coollerz was rocket jumping up to the rail, I believe it was, and Tox double backed with the lightning gun and ran out of ammo. That was back in the game when it was relatively close, and from there on out it just felt like it snowballed out of favour. And you can see here that, in all honesty, the major item pickups were not too different, but Coollerz' overall damage output and positioning and awareness of when he was going to take the items relative to Tox, and just control of the light armors, is leaps and bounds from what Tox showed us.
Well, that's one of the things that really is quite a big takeaway so far as well, just in terms of items. The amount of control he's had over the lights in both maps now, where basically he has been able to take any single light armor he wants for free, not contested at any single point, which is a bit worrying when you think about it.
Yeah, I think map 1 we didn't see much pressure from Tox. It was quite passive, as we said. He was trying to just stay in the game more than win the game, which is never a situation you want to be in as a player, whereas that game it was quite the reverse. He was trying to take the game to Coollerz in situations where he wasn't prepared to, and he wasn't doing enough positionally around the map to keep pressure on Coollerz. It was all around, again, those major items, trying to take one big fight, one all or nothing. It wasn't in and out, sustained. So there is a lot of learnings for Tox to take forward there, and I'm sure he definitely knows what went wrong. The last 5 minutes of the game of him charging in, it was almost kind of all she wrote before then, so it wasn't him playing 100% seriously from there on in. It was just kind of focusing on the next map. Yeah,
it's also one of those where you, at that point, you've got to do something. You know, you can't just waste time. You might as well fight, try and keep yourself warm and not get iced out before you go through into the third map. But that's where we've ended up. Third and final map now between these two boys that are looking bloodthirsty. Tox, if he's got something to prove, he needs to prove it now.
Exactly. And similar to as we spoke about earlier with the Visor matchup, this is a great push from Tox. It's not going to be as prevalent with the Sorlag, because the Sorlag will be using her ability more. That's a fortunate spawn from Coollerz, but using his piercing sight to work out what Tox was doing as we even it back up.
I was going to say that it's so rough that he was able to get that spawn, but then we've just had the exact same reverse happen there with Tox as he comes back through anyway. Tox now incredibly low. This is just going to be a brawl after brawl, isn't it?
This is definitely a brawl, but if you're going to brawl against a Sorlag, you better make sure you're not letting her get free items, because she will come at you with a huge stack and some serious speed. So that's the one thing Coollerz needs to make sure of, is that, yes, it's alright to brawl, but as soon as a Sorlag gets any sort of foothold in the game, you need to be much more careful in the fights you take. I think he underestimates how much damage he will be able to do here.
Yikes. No frag picked up from the Reptile Queen. Going down as Cooler will be able to dethrone her there. The shot's coming across as well. Nice use of the tri-bolt. The LG in such close range. He's invading his personal space, damn. This is not okay.
Yeah. Cooler read that like a book. Just didn't read that like a book, though. Tox here, not afraid to keep up the tempo. Complete 180 from what we saw on the Blood Covenant.
It's a pretty bold distance to take the shot here.
Should tick out here, but he does pick up just in time. Nice rail from Tox. Pretty crucial rail, which means he should be able to push in here.
Cooler, so limited on his arsenal, feeling himself with the shotgun, has been starved out for weaponry.
But this is
just as the spawn came up as well.
oh, nice.
That was clean.
Yeah, that's a great feeling.
Oh, and on the downwards rails as well. It's like a yoga pose as he drops down, looking to try and do some more. Cooler, incredibly low. Tox spins around, gets out of there.
That was too greedy from Tox. There was no need to try and hit the flashy follow-up rail. He does finish it now, but it could have cost him because all he needed to do was an easy weapon choice change. And this is the rail we know Tox can hit.
Through the legs, unfortunately, on the follow-up shot. Fully commits to it though, as he's going to dive in 2 rockets in rapid succession. Will be able to strip Cooler from this mortal plane as he B-hops past, snatching away the mega health and going on a spree to try and get himself some equipment to play with.
But now Tox has got the lead. We can see him playing much more calculated there, allowing Cooler to get in onto that mega health as the follow-up rails are spectacular.
If he starts giving himself too many opportunities of investing in fights that aren't guaranteed to win, especially with Tox now looking a bit more warmed up on the rail, this could be really bad for Cooler if he carries on hitting these shots. Oh, nice damage done with the rockets. Even though it's not the frag, it is at least going to force Tox back into an awkward position.
Absolutely, and now Tox should be willing to slow it down and just play the rail game, but Cooler is matching him for that. This is some fast-placed blood run we've got at the moment.
Cooler just going to sit in the blood pool. Wanted to try and get some health there, but as he tries to delve out and leave his comfort zone, going for the heavy, he is going to be eliminated. Slapped down and removed by Tox with a rail gun. He will snatch it as he's reborn and goes back in. The globule's doing a lot of damage as well. That damage over time will start to tick through Cooler. Luckily finds himself a health item to deny the kill.
Tox getting away, and we can see a very different playstyle from Tox now. In the past couple of minutes since he's got the lead, willing to take those rail battles, peeking out before he pushes in. Whilst as much as Cooler is retaliating extremely well, Tox's damage output is generally keeping Cooler at bay, but Cooler has pushed on to maintain control now. Oh, and he misses that rocket jump up.
Teetering over the ledge, sitting on a knife's edge as he looks to try and chop his way through Cooler. The damage coming through cancels out the damage over time.
Cooler understands how important it is to not let Tox get a stack, and that's why he's taking these slightly riskier plays to maintain control, or at least prevent from Tox from getting control as well.
Rocket to the face will slow down the push from Cooler.
We have to remember that Cooler has been using his piercing sight, which allows him better information on when he should be pushing as well. So that's always something to account for. It's just about to come up.
Ooh, the nails are doing so much damage. Cooler's quite lucky to actually be alive in that position, especially when the rocket hits him unsuspected as he turns the corner. Tox looking to try and cover as much ground as possible as he flicks his mouse there, covering the floor with that damage over time. Globules hoping to try and burn a hole into Cooler. Has the high ground with the rail, but no connection coming across.
The piercing sight was also burnt, which means that there is nothing for Cooler to fall back on just at this point in time.
They're going head to head here. It looks like he might try and fight it. Just going for the predictive rockets initially. Cooler still holding his ground as well. This could fake out Tox. Oh, He was so caught up in his head deciding where he would exit that he does give him safe passage away.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen Tox venture out from that back area into the mid ground. So he's been maintaining timing since he knows exactly when both Heavy and Mega are up, and ensures he is in and around the vicinity to deal damage. And this is what he should have been doing on the previous map, and this is the way to play defensive. Just taking those peak rails, making sure he's in and around to deal damage and get away as best as possible. So you can see this type of positioning here, making sure he's not going to receive anything. Is he going to risk it? He's not. He knows he doesn't need to. He has a 5 frag lead, which is a big lead on Blood Run.
He just needs to delay and waste time. Time is of the essence as well. Not too much left on the clock as it's going to be ticking its way through as we've just hit 7 minutes. For Cooler, he's going to realise the pressure is on him. He does initiate, turns the corner looking for a fight, but he won't win that barnyard brawl. Tox will come out on top, and that's another frag added to the tally, Dan.
It is. It's going to be a long road back for Cooler now, and he needs to make a move quickly. 150. Maybe he means ping. I don't know. But doesn't matter. Still needs to play. Still needs to try.
He's dropped a feels good, man. Wide Peepo happy.
That's something I never thought I would have seen Coolers say.
Does Tox stop to type Keck W?
I hope so.
Imagine the scenes. He's taking his time. It must be a long message. Ah.
Yeah,
oh, there you
this
go.
match. Oh.
That was quite pleasant, actually. I thought it'd be a bit more.
Happens. Oh, this is so
very wholesome,
nice.
isn't it?
Only in Quake.
Even the BM's wholesome.
Yeah, I would have done that.
That's why you're not in the league.
I'll just give it an LUL.
ZSX Gigalol. Oh,
Sucks to be you, man. As they just play out this last minute and a half, not sure if Cooler can really do anything at this stage. All things accounted for, whatever happened, Tox, we saw a different Tox in this map. And I think it again comes down to that comfort level, and that obviously this is a map he knows inside out, and Tox played exceptionally well on the defense. Didn't feel like he needed to pressure at all. But that's the big difference between this and the Blood coming in, that he had a lead to work off for this. He also had a tankier champion, so just picking up those light armors was sufficient. I think Cooler did a great job in making sure that Tox couldn't get on the map, but for whatever reason, Cooler couldn't just follow up for any kills.
Big chase down here, hoping to at least maybe walk away with an extra frag at the end, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. 9-3 in the last couple of seconds here at the game, really. It's going to be going the way of Tox, which does split the series slightly, a 2-1. Not the way I would have predicted it to go down, but still at least the 2-1 split I did expect between the two.
I did say 3-0, but also we both said a Cooler win, I believe.
I think overall as well, Cooler, he's definitely shown the stock that I think everyone currently has given him in the scene. He's jumped over his head twice.
I'm loving the Sorlags coming back into the meta. Not that they ever really left, but you know.
You win.
And there you have it, the 2-1 split as they close down the game. Tox finally getting a map off of Cooler in the end there as the wholesome duo round that one out.
Yeah, it was some nice relationship between the two there.
It was good.
Yeah, I'm pleased.
Yeah.
It warms me inside. At least something's warming me at the minute.
Trying to keep that fire in your heart burning as we do wrap up that series. Our fourth series of the night now concluded with the 2-1 split. Tox, unfortunately, not able to win the series, but at least still gets himself some points. Cooler, he'll be pretty happy though. Obviously, you know, the points he's going to get from that will keep him in a pretty good position overall in the rankings.
Yeah, that was a crazy start. It was 2-1 after 30 seconds, a frag every 10 seconds.
I didn't even realise Tox got a little bit of the pummel off there as he went for the gauntlet out.
But after that point, Tox was able to pull away, started hitting more and more shots, caught Cooler actually a couple of times in those choke points. And from there on in, Tox just played that back room really, really well. I don't even think he bothered going for the heavy armor at all. He got occasional megas. Just played a very good positional game.
Yeah, it was just quite nice control, really, the whole way through. He understood exactly where to stay in terms of the map control and the high ground that he had available to him. Locked it down, pretty much just had the choke points on lock for the entire game.
Pretty much spent half the game back in the Super Nailgun room and was pretty happy camping out there. So
he liked it. It was a nice little area for him to chill out.
He was he won, so
yeah,
can't complain.
Smashed it in the end as he's going to walk away with the victory. Let's have a look at the series stats, though, as we do have these to play with. Actually, just the map stats for this final map, as we do have up on the screen now, Dan.
You can see the 20 light armors, most of which probably came, as we said, from sitting in the Super Nailgun room. Only 4 and 4 heavy and mega apiece. Virtually nothing to play with, but he didn't need to. He just played positional. He kept timing. That was the key thing. Even though he wasn't taking them, he definitely was timing them. And so quite often he was in position to deal some sort of damage. And that prevented from Cooler from pushing in. And when Cooler did push in, A, he was weaker, and B, Tox could predict it. So overall, it was just a very, very good map. And as you can say, it was Tox's pick, so you would expect a solid performance.
Yeah, it was nice to witness. Good to see a little bit more of the rockets coming into the fold there as well. Normally the rails that we tote him for, doing a little bit more damage with the projectiles, punishing into that map.
Yeah, I was impressed. And whatever happened with Coollerz ping, it doesn't matter. Like, Tox just played better.
Let's take away the series as well. Obviously, both of them would have been playing on their respective servers, I would imagine, then trading over. I think that's how it went down. But here we have the series stats, where we can delve into things a little bit more with a slightly larger microscope.
Slightly larger microscope. You can see the big difference here was Cooler just strangled the series. We said all day long, get your basics right. Make sure you're trying to get the major items, or at least dealing damage to the major items. And Tox was not able to do that on maps 1 and 2. Cooler, even though he was tearing away with the series, also has a higher light armor count, and we pointed that earlier as quite a significant statistic. And ultimately, we see just better overall aim from Cooler than Tox with a higher average damage. So I can say that Cooler has impressed me once again.
Yeah, Cooler looking sick as ever. I feel like that's not really going to be too surprising for the viewers at home,
Common
obviously.
Statement, yeah.
You know how strong he is at this point, right? And he looks like he really is starting to go from strength to strength again and just get better every time we see him on our screens, which is... it's ideal, really. I think if we do sort of have, the Quake players that are back on top that we want, especially once we get back into LAN, he's one of those names that we want to have on form because the matchups he provides are just outrageous.
Yeah, and he's a character. That transcends the scene almost. Like he's a draw, so it's great to have him back in the scene. He brings a lot to the game, and people learn from him as well. I think, and he's an innovator. So it's always good to have Cooler in the game and in the scene.
Yeah, a pillar of the community there. But let's have a look how the games have been going over the course of the day so far as we have the results for the first 4 matchups. Dan, what was your favourite this far?
Dahang Dramis.
Yeah?
That was bananas. And Dramis really did. Yeah, he put up such a good fight, and he's probably one of my favourites now to watch. I think base Cypher, I expected something spicy, and we got something, I don't know, extra hot, because I did not expect a 3-0. I did see an uptip on the cards, but that was something else, and it wasn't Cypher's day. And ultimately, Cooler Tox always put on a good show. It was nice to see some close games, but when Cooler just tore away in that second map, I felt this is why Cooler is the king.
Yeah, I think if there was little chilies indicating how hot these games were, there'd be at least 5 chilies by the Dramas Dahang game, because it was very, very hot.
Yeah, if you missed that game, I would recommend that's the game to watch out of that first series. Out of the first half of the day. Absolutely, Dramis was on fire, but Dahang just showing how versatile he is, and he adapted throughout the entire matchup there. A really great storyline that emerged from that. And for the rest of the day, we've got a couple of really big ones. I think match 6 and 7, as we said earlier. I'm really looking forward to seeing CNZ versus Wenger and From versus Kilson. But saying that, I think Dewey needs to start stepping it up a little bit, and I think he can take the series of Psychic, in my personal opinion. And ultimately, Chain versus Raf to finish the day. I don't see anything but a 3-0 for Rafa there.
Yeah, I think Zron Kilson, CNZ, Wenger, 2 games that if you're waiting to try and see some real gems, those 2 are going to be lovely. That is a back-to-back sandwich of fragging goodness. Chain versus Rafa as well. That's the delicacy at the end of the day, to just shut us down with something that's going to leave you really feeling full of just absolute show-stopping frags, potentially from either of these 2 boys. But let's have a look at what is coming up after the break. Dewey versus Cygib. Dewey coming into the fold, a lot of eyes on him, a lot of hope for this potential young gun that can do so much, and Cygib, someone that we know oh so well. What are your thoughts on this one, Bad?
As I said, I've obviously kept an eye on Dewey for a while, and I think he could definitely take this away from Cygib. Cygib more known for his team background, but nevertheless, both these players are exceptional duelers. I think Dewey's respected as a great defensive player, and it's nice to see a bit more versatility coming out of him, whereas Cygib, pretty much rail master, loves to use the weapon, and so maybe Dewey can work around that and capitalize upon the fact that that's his kind of go-to.
Yeah, well, hopefully so, if he can try and bring that out and display the skills that he has. I feel like Cygib might have some tricks up his sleeve. I'm always excited to see how he does, but we'll find out. That is all to come. We're just teasing you for now, as we've got to go to a brief break before we return with more Quake Pro League.